Hey, what's cracking? How are you doing today? I hope this video finds you doing well. Hope that everything, my friend, is going your way. I want to thank you for clicking on the video. If it's the first time you've ever watched one of my videos, my name is Ricky Dye. I went to prison when I was 15 years old in the state of Oklahoma for murder. And I was there for 20 years, 5 months, and 29 days. So I spent nearly half my life in prison. I grew up there. And I'm not proud of any of the things I've done. Not proud of what I did that sent me to prison. If I had a genie to give me one wish, I'd go back and change that night and never put my family or the victim's family or myself or anyone else that was involved through that. But life doesn't work that way. We don't get the chance to go back and just change things because we don't like what we did. So the only other thing I could think of I could do to try to maybe make things better is to share my experience. What happens when you send 15-year-olds to prison with grown men for 20 years? What exactly are we doing in the prison system? And so I tell my story, and you'll enjoy them best if you've never watched one before, if you start them from the beginning. Because I didn't really know where to start, so I just started at the beginning. I start with when I was 15 years old, with what led me to do the crime that I committed that got me in prison. What it was like to be certified as an adult and sent to prison with grown men when I was still just a teenager. And I try to keep the stories pretty exciting. I try to make the videos interesting to watch, but I also try to always keep it real. I won't lie to you about anything. If you hit me up in the comments, I'll always answer every time I see them. If you have more specific questions, you can contact me. My Facebook link is in my description. You can click on it and then send me a message through Messenger, and I always answer. I have many, many people that I make phone calls with, that I do text with, that I do messengers with, and so I've met a lot of good people. Today, this is part 2 of a story that I just told. So if you haven't watched the last video, I strongly suggest that you go back and watch it. I have other things I want to say at the end of the video, but as usual, I like to jump right into the story. That's what people came for, and then I'd appreciate it later if you'd stick around to hear the rest. So I told you I was going to start this story with, I'm in a wreck again, and that's exactly where we're going to start. But I do want to explain to you how these wrecks go and how you get in these wrecks. So as I told you, my mom had brought me the money just before she went into back surgery to get me out of the debt I was in. Gave me about $1,400 to get all my bills paid. And you never hear people owing that kind of money in prison. You get yourself hurt over a few soups in prison, $100 especially. People don't get in debt for thousands of dollars. I was in debt for $1,400 altogether, but a lot of that was interest. So I got that money and I got out of it. My mom gave me $300 to be on my feet, and I went, and the dope come in, and once again I did some dope and I blew my money, and once again I'm in debt. So you're sitting around there and you're even with everyone, and you don't want to owe nobody, and you just swore you'll never do it again. And they have bologna at lunch, green bologna for lunch, and you miss breakfast and you're hungry, and then at dinner time they have turkey a la king or something that isn't very good to eat for dinner, and you're hungry. And you just paid all these store men's off, so you figure, I don't really have no money coming, but surely I can hustle up a few soups, and you can borrow you a couple soups. Maybe you get your box of Debbie's. Maybe you and your cell partner agree to both pay half on it, and then he can't cover his. Well, for whatever reason, if you've been on a yard for a while, usually people don't come jump on you the first time you can't pay them. Usually they'll just put interest on you. Because when you owe a store debt, a drug debt, if you buy a paper of dope for me for $100, you owe me $100 for it whenever you pay me for it. If you come borrow money from me, you owe me $100. You borrow $100, you owe me $150 every week with compounding 50% interest. It's the same way if you come and borrow from a store. If you borrow a canteen, every week it's compounded with at least 50% interest. So if you go borrow 2 soups and 2 pops, then you owe 3 soups and 3 pops back next week. But next week comes and you don't have them. So now those 3 pops and 3 soups become 5 pops and 5 soups. Now you've got taxed for 3 to 5. The next week you'll be taxed from 5 to 8. So now you owe 8 pops and 8 soups for the 2 pops and 2 soups you borrowed a month ago. And if the debt goes on for lots in 1 month, it's went from 2 to 8 of each. But if it goes on for some time, either a fight happens or the interest continues to accrue. The other thing that happens is you're around there and you're worried about those canteen bills, and everybody else in here is getting high, and you're depressed and you're mad, and you got this drug problem of your own, and they offer it to you on credit. And you know you can't pay for it. You know you can't pay for it. If you're in your right mind, you just say no, but the drugs are there. Your stomach's turning. You're trying to get high. They got it in your face. They're high. Their eyes are big. It's making your chest, making your heart thump because you see them high. They tell you, well, we know you don't have money now. We'll give you credit. So give you credit. And now you're worried because now you owe that store man over there about $20. And now you owe this guy $100 for some dope. Even though he said he wasn't worried about it. Now about a month went by and he's wanting his money. So one thing happens and another, and before you know it, you're in debt to this store man and you're in debt to that store man. And maybe somebody gets some weed in. And maybe you get a couple joints from them. And you're supposed to get them some canteen for it. But when the day comes, you don't have the canteen. So they need their money. They're going to fight you over that money. So you're going to have to go borrow that from a store man somewhere, $10 for $15 back. And if you don't pay that on time, it's $22.50. And then it's $33.75. And it takes no time for a few little items to cost you a huge amount of money in prison. And the difference between out there and in here is, in there has to be a stopping point. At some point, there's going to be some physical altercation to solve this problem. And so my mom had her back surgery, and it was over a year before she got that settlement. So it took me over a year to get out of debt. Usually when people are in debt, it doesn't last more than 2 or 3 weeks or a month before something happens over it. But because I had done so much time in prison, I was so well known, and I had been the weed man for so long, and I had been involved in stabbings and fights, and everyone pretty much knew me. I had more leniency than most people. But I was still getting taxed. Even when me going and telling these people, look, my mom was out for back surgery. I'm waiting on her to get a settlement. They don't want to hear that she's waiting on a settlement. That's the last thing they want to hear, is that your family's waiting on a settlement. That's bullshit. And go on anytime you're running games, I want my money. So when they won't accept the truth, you got to lie to them. Okay, I'll have it next week. Knowing that you can't have it next week. But that buys you a week. So all week long, you worry about next week when that day comes when that money's supposed to be there, and you know it's not going to be, that you've got to go out here and tell another lie because he won't accept the fact that you've already told him that it'll be after the settlement. So I'm knowing this whole year that I'm not getting this money till they settle with my mom. My mom has a big lawsuit with them. So during this time, if you go to the chow hall, when you get ready to walk in the chow hall, you walk through a metal detector. So you can't have a knife if you go into the chow hall. People know if you went to the chow hall, when you come out, you're unarmed. And so I was afraid of being unarmed. So I kept my knife on me all the time. I kept it with me total, all the time, all the time, all the time. And finally, one day, I'm down there, and I decide I'm going to try to run a poker game. I owe everybody and their brother, and I know there's a chance people are going to go say, hey, he's over there running a poker game, because you're supposed to have money to run a poker game. But what I did is I went and got a buddy of mine to stand good for me for $20 or $30, as long as I didn't lose that he'd split the winnings with me, and he'd cover the backing. He'd back me. So I'm out there running a poker game. I'm sitting at the head of the table. It's a long table. There's another guy at the other end. There's 3 guys on each side. We're playing poker. We're in a blind spot. We're in the day room. When you come in the day room right here, there's a case manager's office where the case manager's sitting inside there, and there's a curtain on the window where they can't see you. But the guards can see you down above the office, but it's kind of a blind spot where we're sitting playing poker. And I'm sitting there, and I look up, and around this side of the table, there's 2 bloods comes around this side, and a blood comes around this side, and around this side, a blood's coming. And I owed this dude $100, but he said it was no big deal, that we were working it out. And all of a sudden, while I'm sitting here, I'm trapped between the table and I'm sitting in a chair, and I'm trapped between the table and the wall, so I can't really move very good. All I can pretty much do is stand straight up. He come toward me, and just at the last minute, I seen him swing, and I put my hands up, and I caught that punch. I caught it so he didn't catch me. And as soon as that happened, I stood up, and I grabbed him in a headlock and slung him across the table down onto the floor over there. And at the time, oh man, messed up my joke, damn it. At the time, I know you got that, I was going to say, damn man, what happened to me? Look man, I did it. I got an uncle, man, who he grows his hair out, he cuts the braids off, and he sends them in to kids who have cancer so they can make wigs for them. And so since I've been sick so often, the last thing you want to deal with is long hair when you're throwing up all the time, and it's getting in your face and in the trash can, and when you have to deal with it out of the shower. So I decided I would take something that's caused me a lot of problems until I had my problems lined out and my surgery over later today. I would cut my hair off so I wouldn't have to deal with it and send it to a kid it would be a blessing to. So that's what I'm going to do. And later on, I'll either grow it back out, send it to them again, or maybe I'll decide I like it like this. Seems pretty easy to take care of. But back to my story. Sorry about that. Damn it, man. Where was I at? That messed everything up. Anyway, man. So I swing this guy across the table and I get him down on the ground. And about the time, I get him in a front face lock. and I'm trying to choke him, and he's trying to get loose. And about that time, this one dude that was coming from that side hits me in the top of the head. And so I didn't want to let this guy go because he's the main guy trying to get me. The other guys are just making sure he's going to win. And we're right out in the middle of the day room thinking somebody might break in. Somebody might break this up. Police might come. Surely this ain't going to last long. Can't believe this happened. I was running a poker game. This guy's attacking me. Thought everything was cool. So I end up getting him in a chokehold. I roll him over on top of me, and I'm choking him, and I'm kind of using him for a shield so they can't hit and kick me because he's in front of me. And somebody ends up calling Jigger up, and they break us up, and they all go back to their unit. And I'm shook up. Poker game shut down. I go back to my cell. Nobody won or lost. I didn't never even take a lick. I was choking him, but no one got hit or hurt. But now I'm over in my cell. I'm getting a knife. I'm getting a knife out. I didn't have a knife on me because I was running the poker game. I didn't want them to come search us for chips and catch me with a knife because they can search the poker table sometimes. So I had the knife hid in my cell. Go back and get the knife. Start putting magazines on because this is a whole group. This is a whole group of Bloods, man. And this is before me and Killer Miller got real tight, really. And one thing led to another. This dude tells me I owe him his $100. He wants $100 right now. And so I tell him, I just don't have the $100, man. I just don't have it. Just don't have it. I explain everything going on to him. Say, look, man, people can't accept the truth that I'm probably not going to have the money till my mom gets the settlement. She's going to for sure get this settlement. But I've run this girl off. She wouldn't bring the drugs like she said she was. I was sending people's money to her, and she's beating me. So once he gets to talking to me and seeing how I am, he decides to work with me. And he said, well, man, the main reason I come down there and start a fight with you is because I hear you owe a lot of people, man. And so here's the deal. When you owe a lot of people, maybe you owe 30 people a lot of money. The ones that you owe the most money to, they don't want you to get tricked off over a few suits because you owe them a few hundred. And that's the case. Oh, this guy $100. You don't want me getting a fight with someone over $10 in canteen. So he wants to know how much canteen do I owe, because if that's the case, he's afraid now that we got in a fight, they might all start trying to fight me next. He's afraid I'll catch out. I'm telling you right now, dude, I'm not catching out. I don't care if y'all come back down here with knives. Now I'm out at the fence talking to them. They're on C unit. I'm on A unit. But we're at the fence talking through this chain link fence. All his homeboys on that side. I'm on this side by myself. And I was like, I don't want to get into it with all you and your homeboys, but I'm not going to be down here worried every day about who's going to jump on me, man. I'm telling you that. Ain't nobody else jumping on me. Just because you pull that shit, ain't nobody fixing to do shit to me, man. I didn't have my knife on me because I was playing poker. I ain't running the poker game no more. I was trying to hustle and come up so I could pay some people. But instead that happened, so don't even worry about it, dude. I'm always have my knife from now on. Next one that tries to get me, I'm not going to even have to worry about it after that. I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I'm just saying I'm not going to have to worry about people attacking me every day, man. I told y'all as soon as I get the money, I'm going to pay it. I've been here for years. I've always paid everyone. I've been locked up for years. I've always paid my bills. I've always kept my word. Things are bad right now. As soon as I get better, I'm going to pay. I'm not catching out. So this dude decides he's going to help me pay off some of these bills. So he gives me enough canteen to go pay off these little canteen bills I owe in the unit, so I don't have to sweat that no more. And then there's this one dude owed a $100 bill too, and another dude owed a $100 bill too, and he didn't want them sweating me because he thought they were hotheads. So he loaned me $200 cash for $300 back, and $100 worth of canteen plus the $100 owed him. And he said, "You give me $600 back total, so I can make some money when you get that money in. And even if it takes a while, I won't mess with you. That way, I know you ain't getting into it. No one else. You ain't going nowhere. I know I'll get my money." So I agreed to it, and he gives me money and helps me pay the stuff off. So for a while, a little bit of the pressure eases up. And some time goes by there, and he starts asking me, when will this be? When will this be? And I keep telling him, I don't know. I can't give you a direct date. So he starts having some other financial issues and starts leaning on me. He had some other guys that owed him, and they caught out. And he's lost the money. And now pretty much what he has left, what I owe him. And now he's sweating me for it. So out of nowhere, man, I'm sitting in my room one day. I come back from, I thought everything was fine now. I haven't been having any arguments with anybody. So I started going to the chow hall at dinner time. And I go to the chow hall at dinner time, and I walk back up to the cell, and I walk in my cell, and no one's there. And I open the door. I look behind me, and here comes this guy, the guy that I got into it with, and he's got this little young black blood dude with him that I don't know. He's a little bit bigger than me, but not a lot. And he said, "Man, let me holler at you." So I open the door, and I walk in the cell, and I have a buffer sitting in my cell because I had been buffing the floors. That was my job. I was the run man. And the buffer's kind of in the way, and I step inside the door, and that young guy steps plumb to the back of the cell, and then he kind of crowds the door, and he locks the door. And when he locks the door, I'm thinking, something's up. And I said, what's up, man? I said, we just talked. He said, explain to me what's going to happen again. And I just told him what was going on, that I wouldn't have it until she got the stuff. So I know about that time this dude starts swinging. He hits me twice. I don't know whether I need to protect myself against this guy, if he's got a knife on him, because he's known for having a knife. He's the leader of the Bloods at the time. He has a reputation for using knives. He's the leader. And I'm thinking he may have a knife, and this guy's trying to attack me. So I just kind of cover up and protect myself, and he ain't doing nothing. He's just holding the door. I notice he's not trying to, all he's doing is making sure I can't get out the door. He's not getting involved. So I grabbed this young guy. I ended up twisting him around, got him in a little wrestling move, slammed him on the buffer, and I broke the buffer with him, got him in a headlock, but I'm not hitting him because I know if I start punching him, then this dude's going to jump in. So I got him in a headlock. He can't get loose. I'm looking up at old boy blocking the door, and I'm saying, what's up, man? Is this how you want to get your money? This ain't how you're going to get your money, dude. I told you I was going to pay you. So he said, all right, man, y'all break it up. That's good enough. He said, hey, man, don't try to hit him. He's going to let you up. So I let him up, and they leave. Immediately, I go out to the fence. I said, look here, dude. I thought we had to understand him, man. He said, man, that's how it's going to be, man. You owe me money. The only reason I didn't get at you like I wanted to because my hand was hurt. I said, dude, I'll fight you anytime. No, it ain't even going to be like that. You owe me money. Why should I get my hands dirty? From now on, it's just going to come, and you ain't going to know where it's coming from. I said, you got me fucked up. If you think I'm just going to be walking around here not knowing who's going to attack me, you're going to pay to attack me next. Fuck that, dude. If one more motherfucker lays his hand on me, I'm getting my knives, and I'm coming after you. I'm telling you now. I'm saying this to the leader of the Bloods, dude. And so generally what happens if you're white and you get in a jam with the other races, the Indians, the Mexicans, the blacks, the Crips, the Bloods, the Muslims, it doesn't matter. If they go to the whites and be like, hey, man, this white boy ain't paying his bills, we want to get at him, we want to start a racial war. Usually, if the whites don't think anything of you, they'll come put pressure on you and smash you themselves, causing trouble with another race by not paying your bills and keeping your words. But I'm friends with so many of the brothers, the UABs. I'm brothers with them, even though I'm not a brother. I'm still so close with most of them that they're giving me the respect that they won't do that to me. They just tell them, well, we're not going to get involved, but y'all got to deal with Ricky Dye yourself. So they're telling me, we're not going to come help them collect from you, dude. That's on you. You shouldn't have got yourself in that shit. We're not going to get all of us tricked off, all the brothers tricked off, getting major war with these people because you went and got in debt. You're on your own, but we're not going to help put pressure on you either. So I tell that dude that. And so during all this, there's another guy that I owe a couple $100. Two other dudes I owe $200 to. So to tell you all this, by the time the year and 2 months passes, my mom bailed me out of $4,000 in debt. People kept putting interest on me. Interest. I didn't get that much shit. I probably got $500 worth of stuff. But altogether, it ended up costing around $4,000 after a year. But this other guy finds out they're about to start just sending people to jump me, and I owe him a couple $100. Say, hey, man, that ain't going to be like that. He's already said he'll fight you one-on-one. He'll fight him one-on-one. I told him I'll fight all of y'all one-on-one. Give me a 2-minute rest in between you. I'll just line them up. Shit. That's how you want to do it. I'm not leaving, dude. I'm not fucking catching out. I'm going to fucking pay you when I get the fucking money, and I can't give it to you till then. I'm not fucking leaving. You're not going to fucking hurt me. If you want to get one with hands, then line up, motherfucker. Shit. If you want to get one with the knives, we'll do it and have it over with. I don't know what else to tell you, man. So these dudes are now saying, hey, man, this kid's got heart. He's not catching out, man. Lay off of him. Else y'all want to do it one-on-one. So that ended up being why he only held the door and didn't jump in. They had already been told by that dude, don't jump me one-on-one. So they come down there, catch me slipping, try to jump me one-on-one. But now everybody's riled up since they pulled this shit. Now I do got some people on my side, even though I owe them money. They realize that, man, this kid's going to pay. He's been in prison his whole life. He's going to pay us. His mom's down. He's always paid. He's got drugs everywhere he's went. These dudes are trying to really put it to him. They're trying to make me catch is what they're doing. They're trying to prove that they can make Ricky Dye catch. And they cannot make me catch. There's not a man alive that's going to make me ask another man to save me. I'm just not going to do that. Excuse me. When I went to prison at 15 years old, there was things that was guaranteed is that I'm not ever going to be another man's boy. I'm not ever going to ask the police to save me. And I'm not going to run because there ain't nothing to run from, man. I'm running to the fight, not from it. And that's all there is to it. And so, after that deal, I have a knife on me all the time. All the time. And then there's this other dude I owe this $200 to. And boy, have I got a story about him. I told you a story about Granite, and when some white guys tried to call me a rat and shit, and I read up on them, and they beat this Mexican kid up, broke his jaw, and raped him. Well, he shows up on this yard. And all these Mexican guys are trying to belittle him and treat him bad because of it. He's Mexican, and usually they pull up their own, but they know he's been raped, so they're treating him like he's weak. But he don't want to be weak. He wasn't a weak kid. He was a stand-up kid, but he was outnumbered. And he was high and had him huffing stuff, and two of them together that are tough beat him up bad. He didn't have no choice. Doesn't mean he doesn't have heart. He's decided this shit's never going to happen to him again. So this dude that I owe, now I'm not talking bad about anybody's religion. I'm just telling you how shit was. Now they changed their name. I'm not sure of their belief system or anything, but they don't wash with soap. They all wear dreads. They don't wash their hair. They use orange pills to wash their hair and body. You get chicken bones from out of the chow hall, and he strips all the meat off of them and makes necklaces out of chicken bones. And they give themselves new names, and they say that they're gods. They are gods. They say that each one of us are God. And so they have new names, new godly names. And the one that I owed the money to, his name was Divine. I won't tell you his real name, but he ended up being a good friend of mine. But I owed him $200, and Divine was a tough dude. He was a tough dude, and people had respect for him, and they were afraid of him. And his partner was Reality, and that was his partner. He's another black dude. He's just about as hard as Divine. I don't know which one is harder. And they pull little Larry up, and they give him the new name of Confidence. So he's going to have confidence. And whatever they taught him, it helped because he became a man. And hell, he might have became a killer. Everywhere they went, he went with a knife with them. So I owe Divine this money. And me and him always had a real good understanding. But he hears about this shit that happened down there, and I guess he figures he needs to put his pressure on, make sure he gets paid before they do when it happens. I guess that was what he was trying to do. So instead of coming down to my unit to holler at me or hollering at me at the fence, he wants me to come to his unit on C unit. And I'm not supposed to be on C unit. I live on A. If I get caught down there, it's a write-up. I could go to jail. But him calling me down there to C unit, it's more like, if I'm not afraid, come down here to C unit, to his cell. He wants to holler at me. So I'm not going to be afraid of anybody. So I gear up. I make myself in disguise, go up in there. I go right up in his cell. When I go up in his cell, I look right there on the stairs out in front of the cell. He's got Divine and Confidence, Reality and Confidence standing there. And I go in the room, and he locks the door and puts the curtain up where no one can see what's going on. And he's facing the mirror the whole time, and he turns and looks at me, and he's got his face painted all up with mud and stuff, like he said, a Zulu warrior. And he starts saying, man, I want my money. And I start saying, hey, man, look here, man. I'm trying my best to have respect for the guy. And to be honest, I was nervous, but I was trying my best not to laugh. He had the chicken bones around his neck. He was barefooted. He fucking had the paint on his face. He had his hair all up in these crazy knots. And he looked like he was going to war and shit. And I should have been scared to death, but something told me they were trying to scare me. You know, you got these two outside, like they're watching while he hurts me. But there's just two of us, and he don't know I've got a knife on me. So I'm not worried. I'm thinking, we're in this room. He thinks he's got me scared. I'm standing with a knife. It's one-on-one. The door is locked. It's just going to be me and him. And they don't know. They're not going to be able to help at all. The door is locked. But I'm telling him, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm telling him, man, dude, but they cut my mom in half, dude. As soon as she's well, he said, they cut my people in half. They took pregnant women and ripped their babies out. And I was like, dude, that shit is before I was ever born. What are you even fucking talking about? Why did you even deal with me? Me and you've been friends. What the fuck are you talking about? So he carries this on for quite some time. I can't remember the outcome, but he really was doing his best to scare me. And when he seen it wasn't going to work, he says, well, just want to make sure you have my money. Whenever you get that money in, don't pay everybody else for me. I expect to be at the top of the list because I've always helped you. And he starts washing it off his face. Said, I was just washing my face when you came in. Like trying to play it off like there wasn't nothing to it. So I leave out of there. As soon as I do Reality and Confidence, come through, like, what happened? Shit. And I don't know what he told him, but I get back down to the unit. And about a week goes by. And I had a knife on me. And I was hungry as hell. And they had breakfast burritos. Breakfast sandwiches. On Monday mornings, you go in there and they'll have rice out and you get much as you want. And then for your breakfast, you'll get a biscuit, a slice of cheese, slice of ham, and a fried egg. And it's a biscuit breakfast sandwich. And I put that in my favorite breakfast. I get that, smash me some rice, head back to the cell, get back to the unit, police shaking my cell down. Find that knife. So, right before they found that knife, the day before they found that knife, I had finally decided I couldn't take it anymore. I was staying up every night. I was worried. I was getting sick over it all the time. The constant worry every day that someone might do something to you every day, every day, every day. And you can't go do something to them first because you went and borrowed their shit and gave your word. So you have to wait on them to do something to you. And so after days and days and days, I could not take it anymore. I went and put magazines on and I got a knife and I went and found everyone I owed. And I told them that I was going around today seeing everybody I owed, letting them know that I wasn't catching out. That after all the pressure I've been under, all the shit I've been through, I see why people catch out. Because if I was any weaker, I would, but I'm not going no fucking where. I've got a knife on me, and if anybody wants to just end this today, we can, but I can't live this way anymore. Either you guys are going to have to lay off me till I get it, or we're going to get this over with today. And every single one of them said that they would wait. And after that, the pressure did lay off, but it was just the next day or two, and they shut me down and got that knife. So evidently, someone I went to would rather I just went ahead and went to jail. So I get locked up, and they give me 30 days DU. And on the 20th day I was back there, my mom settled for $50,000. Sent me a check for $49,997, a copy of the check. And she said she could have got a lot more, but she settled for $50,000 because she used part of it to buy her home and her land, and to catch herself up, to help her other kids out and herself out, and to mainly to get me out of the spot I was in. And when all that happened, I went down to the visiting room with my mom and my stepdad, and I told them that I was in tears again, and I told them that I could not take that money without telling the truth about why I owed it. And I came clean about the drugs that I'd been doing and things that I'd done, and I told them I wasn't going to take the money without telling the truth. And I cried, and my mom cried, and she got me out of debt and put me on my feet. And she said, all these other times you promised me you would leave that. She said, if I could do anything with my boys in this world, I would get on my knees and pray that they wouldn't mess with that white dope. And I said, Mom, you don't never have to get on your knees with me. And she said, then you've promised and you've kept doing it. Look me in the eyes and give me your word. And when she said that, I felt like someone stuck a gun in my face. Because I didn't think there would ever be a day in my life I could live without that shit. Even though it kept causing me all them problems. But she dared me. She wanted it. She said, look me in the eye. And I looked her in the eye and I gave her my word, and that was it. No more of that. Now, there will be wrecks later on over other things, rest assured. But no more over no methamphetamines, no more ice. None of that ever again. Because she made me give her a word. Now, that's been 27 minutes from now is when I was supposed to jerk this out and everything. And dang it, messed that up. But I want to give a shout out to Melody for the $10 super thanks. I want to give a shout out to Tommy Fields. He sent some money to support the channel. Tommy was the guy that was going to try to help me make the videos, and he is a dad with a son and no one to help him. And he has just got an excellent job, and he's been feeling so bad that he was not able to help me with the videos. But I understand that life sometimes just doesn't allow us to do things we'd like to do. And I told him I did not want him to feel bad about it. I think the channel is doing pretty well. To be honest, when other people have helped me, that hasn't got as many views. It seems like people would rather me just do the videos the way I do them. So I'm just going to stick to that. I want to thank everyone who subscribed to the channel lately. It's really been growing, and I really do thank you. As soon as this, I have surgery in the morning. It's supposed to be there at 7:15. I'll be going that way in a little while. It should be an in and out deal, but it's going to take a couple weeks for me to recuperate. So it'll probably be about another week before I put another video up. So I did kind of rush this one to get finished with it in 2. It'll probably be about a week, unless maybe I throw a short up here or there out of other videos, try to get people to watch ones they may have missed. Shout out to the riders and dyers. The riders who ride till the wheels fall off, and the dyers keep riding even when they do. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you haven't sent me a friend request yet, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting on? Hope this video finds you and all your family well when we get to the next one. And until then, may God bless, keep, and protect each and every one of you. Peace out.